Hi everyone, thanks for taking the time to watch today's video entitled How to Get Your Mutual Fund License. Now before I dive into today's subject, I just want to take a quick minute to acknowledge all the people that have been calling into SeeWhy Learning and reaching out to me and some of the other trainers through LinkedIn and other social media websites. Thank you so much for calling and sharing your thoughts and questions with us. In fact, a lot of you have been asking some very similar questions, such as, how do I get into a new job? Or, I'm a bit worried right now, so how do I make my existing job a little bit more secure? Or the really big one, what course should I take to get my mutual funds license? I mean, it's confusing. After doing a bit of research, many people tend to find out that there are multiple courses and there's more than one way to get a mutual fund license. So in today's video, I'm going to cover a lot of these questions. But before we begin, my name is Jason, and although I'm the academic director here at SeeWhy Learning, I'm also, first and foremost, one of the study coaches and trainers. And I have a lot of years of real-world experience working for various investment firms and banks. Now in this video, we're going to talk about the process of getting your mutual fund license and how it can help you kickstart an awesome career. Let's have a look at what's on today's agenda. Okay, we have 6 items on today's agenda: why mutual funds, careers and employers, the process of licensing, approved regulatory courses, SeeWhy study tools, and of course, what did you learn? All right, let's dive in right now and get started with why mutual funds. So why mutual funds? Well, let's pretend for a moment that you and I are both employers and we're going to put on our employer hat right now, where we have to spend the next minute or two thinking like employers think. Let's imagine the following scenario. You're fresh out of school, or perhaps you're thinking about making a career change and you've applied to a financial services company or a bank for a job. And there are 2 candidates selected for an interview. Let's call them Candidate A and Candidate B. Now on paper, both candidates look really good. They both have a good education. They both meet all the minimum job profile requirements. But there's one key difference. Candidate A took the initiative and completed the mutual funds course and exam on their own, whereas Candidate B has not. So who should we hire? Well, in fact, let me ask you, who would you hire? Well, for many people, the answer is going to be pretty obvious. Candidate A. So although there's no guarantees here, I'll be candid, completing a mutual funds course or at least being registered and actively studying for your mutual funds exam may be enough to give you a really good edge up over another qualified candidate. And those are odds that I would take any day. Now, potential employers may include banks, investment dealers, mutual fund dealers, financial planning companies, and a whole bunch more, such as insurance firms and credit unions that sell mutual funds, etc. The key point here is this. There's a lot of good career opportunity for motivated individuals, and a mutual funds license can be a really great starting point, and it's in demand by many employers. Okay, let's talk about the process of licensing. All right, from our point of view, the process of licensing really has 6 steps. Register for an approved regulatory course, purchase the SeeWhy study tools for that particular course, use an effective study process, write and pass your regulatory exam, get hired by a qualified employer, meaning a Canadian bank or investment firm. Your qualified employer will then work with you to submit your registration through the National Registration Database. Actually, I don't expect you to know this last step as you're going to learn it in your course, but that's essentially how it works. Now, I want to spend a bit of time talking about the first 2 steps, as these are actually the foundation for the next 2 slides, where we're going to be covering regulatory courses in SeeWhy study tools. But before we move on, let me make 2 quick points here. First off, it's not a formal requirement that a student purchase the SeeWhy study tools for a particular course. This step is optional, but I'll be very candid with you. It is strongly recommended, and it makes a tremendous amount of sense, as I'll explain shortly. Secondly, there are other criteria to getting a mutual fund license. At the end of the day, your employer must send in an application for registration, which the regulator will review, make an assessment, and render a decision. You're going to learn more about this during your actual studies in your course. Let's talk about our regulatory courses next. There are 3 approved regulatory courses that can lead to a mutual funds license. There's the Canadian Investment Funds course from IFSC Institute. It's a good course, very straightforward, and quite popular among many employees of MFDA or Mutual Fund Dealers Association member firms. There's the Investment Funds in Canada course, which is from Canadian Securities Institute. It's also very straightforward and a popular course as well. Finally, there's the Canadian Securities course, which is a much larger and more comprehensive course than either of the previous 2. Now, the CSC is actually one of 2 courses required to qualify for a securities license. However, the completion of the CSC by itself does qualify one for a mutual funds license too. Now, are the 2 mutual fund courses the same? No, they're not. And I want to be clear. The 2 mutual fund courses will cover many similar topics, some different ones as well, but the actual content and perhaps the depth of the coverage is different. As a result, the exams will be different as well. So in my opinion, one is not better than the other. They simply take slightly different approaches to the overall material. However, either one will get you to the same destination. Now, in terms of cost, the courses themselves are only a few $100s each, probably comparable to in cost to a college course. Well, what about the Canadian Securities course? Well, the CSC, however, it's in a league of its own. The CSC is a much larger, much more comprehensive course. It's actually the foundational course taken to get an IROC securities license. It has 2 textbooks and 2 exams. So by comparison, each of the mutual fund courses only has a single textbook and a single exam. So as you can see, the CSC is a much larger and much more in-depth course. Now, as a result, the CSC will require a lot more time and effort. That said, the payoff is that you're going to learn a lot by completing it, and it's going to put you head and shoulders above many other potential new hires. Now, in terms of cost, the CSC itself is well over $1,000. In fact, more than twice as much as either mutual funds course. So which do I recommend? Well, it really depends. Let me put it this way. How quickly do you want to complete the course? Or how much time and effort do you want to put into your studies? Or do you plan on taking further courses later on down the road, and do you have the extra time now? Let me share with you a story about my friend and fellow trainer Andre. Once upon a time, a long time ago, in a bank branch far away, Andre was an employee working as a bank teller, and Andre wanted a promotion to a new role within his branch. So he sat down and he got to thinking, and he asked himself 3 questions. How quickly do I want to get it done? How much time and effort do I want to put in? Do I plan on taking my career further one day? I mean, these really are the 3 key questions that you need to ask yourself. In Andre's case, he wanted to get in a quick win under his belt. He didn't have a lot of time, and he certainly didn't want to put in too much effort. But the real struggle point for him was that he did want to take his career further one day, so he knew that taking the Canadian Securities course would be a great choice longer term, but because he wanted to get in that quick win, he opted to take one of the 2 mutual fund courses first. Now, I can't actually remember which one he took, but for the purposes of today's conversation, it really doesn't matter. He got in his quick win, he got his new role within his bank branch that he wanted, and later on, when he felt he had more time on his hands, he went and he did the Canadian Securities course and then a whole bunch of other courses as well. So here's my recommendation. For many of you, I would suggest taking the faster route and getting that quick win. To be clear, the mutual funds course is not easy. It's just an easier path and less work than the Canadian Securities course. In fact, you could very well complete the mutual funds course within 30 days of good study. And then, when you're actually working and earning an income, spend more time and upgrade your knowledge and skills with the CSC. That said, if you got the time today, then the CSC makes a lot of sense as well. Now, one quick point you want to be aware of with this is this. The completion of any course does come with a validity period. That means the course completion is not forever, but it's only valid for a certain period of time. If you complete the course, but then you don't get a job requiring licensing at a qualified employer, then the course validity period may expire. And I'll be candid, The regulator wants to make sure that any licensed representative has fresh knowledge and is up to date with the latest rules, regulations, industry changes, product innovations, etc. Now, at the time of today's video, the course validity period is 3 years, but there is industry talk and some speculation about it being lowered to 2 years in the future, so this could change. Now, the way I look at it is like this. Whether it's 2 years or 3 years, it's still plenty of time to find a job and get settled into an exciting new career. Now, my final point I want to make here is this. Here at SeeWhy Learning, we do offer a comprehensive suite of study tools for all 3 of these courses, along with study tools for many more courses as well. In fact, let's talk about this further in the next slide. Before I talk about the study tools, let me talk about why so many students come to SeeWhy Learning. It's really simple. We make their lives much, much easier. Now, when you take a college or university course, you're often not just given a textbook and told to come back when you feel that you're ready to write the final exam. Very often, you have regular or weekly assignments to help make sure that you're on track. You've got access to tutors to ask questions and to get answers. And you often have, lectures from professional instructors about key or important topics as well. But when you take a regulatory licensing course, very often you're only given a course textbook, not much else, and you're told to come back when you feel that you're ready to write the actual exam. Well, how do you know when you're ready? If you're reading only the textbook, then you're going to have to make some decisions along the way about what's important, what you've got to memorize, what you need to understand well, and what you can safely set aside, etc. The problem with this is that you don't know what you need to know. You don't know what you need to know. And that's really the whole point of the SeeWhy Learning study tools. We help you by bridging the gap between the textbook and what you need to know and do to get ready for your actual exam. So in my opinion, the smarter way to study is to use the SeeWhy Learning study tools to get exam ready. Now, there are a number of study tools for each of the mutual funds courses. There's a study guide, and this is really the eyes on the course itself. It's written by our professional trainers. The study guide will help you to focus on what's important and what you need to know. It includes memory aids, analogies, anecdotes, and even some exam tips as well. Think of the study guide as your core foundation of the study tools, and many students will want to add on some or even all of the other study tools to this. Review and practice. These are flashcards designed to help teach you many of the concepts covered in the course, along with challenging chapter quiz questions that allow you to put your knowledge to practice, and of course, a dynamic practice exam to help you get exam ready and fine-tune your studies. E-learning video lessons. The videos are designed to provide you with instructor-like training to help you learn and understand many of the more challenging aspects of the course material itself. The full success package is exactly what it sounds like. It includes all the previously mentioned study tools, and it comes with a SeeWhy Learning money-back guarantee, which really is a testament to the quality that goes into our study tools. It's probably worth mentioning that the full success package is slightly less expensive than adding on all the individual components together, so I do encourage you to make that decision from the get-go. Alternatively, you can simply upgrade from within the SeeWhy Learning Management System as you see fit. So what do I suggest? Well, if you're just getting started and you're looking for our advice, we recommend the Full Success Package, as you're going to get all the study tools together and it's going to come with the SeeWhy Learning Money Back Guarantee. Now, since the Canadian Securities course is a much larger, more comprehensive course and candidly a tougher course as well, the only option is whether you want the e-learning videos or not. But I want to be clear. The SeeWhy study tools are not a replacement for the regulator's textbook, but the study tools will help you a lot to save you a lot of time and a lot of effort by narrowing your studies and by focusing your efforts. And to me, that's a great way to help kickstart an exciting career. All right, let's test what you've learned so far. Okay, so what did you learn? Well, let's review some of our learning from this video by tackling a question. So you're a recent graduate or you're thinking of changing careers. Based on what you learned up to this point, which of the following are true? There's more than one way to earn a mutual funds license. Mutual funds licensed representatives are in demand by employers. Completion of a mutual funds course may provide an edge over another qualified candidate, or all of the above are definitely true. So what's true and what's false? Well, personally, I like to use check marks and X's when I'm doing questions like this, but you could also use a T for true or an F for false, whatever works for you. Let's go through these one by one. All right, so there's more than one way to earn a mutual funds license. Yep, that's definitely true. Let's give it a good check mark. Mutual fund license representatives are in demand by employers. Yes, that's also true. The completion of a mutual funds course may provide an edge over another qualified candidate. Yep, we definitely learned that one earlier. And finally, all of the above are definitely true. Well, absolutely. A, B, and C are true. Therefore, D is true as well. So what's the best answer choice here? I'm going to say it's probably answer choice D. And there it is. All right, let's move on and do a quick wrap up. Okay, let me just wrap up by saying thanks for watching to everybody that took the time to watch today's video. Please make sure to follow us on social media. We've got channels on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on YouTube. If you have any questions, please be sure to reach out to the team here at SeeWhy Learning. We do look forward to chatting with you. And like I always like to say to many of my students, good luck with your studies.